So this is my book. It's called Tribalize Now, The Practice of Belonging. And what it is, it's a book that's based on the practices of not only, say, Native American, but indigenous people around the world. And there's such a link. You can go anywhere in the world and you'll see commonalities between tribal people. There's a mentoring that goes on in tribes that you don't see in our culture. You know, within a tribal culture, people are encouraged from a very young age to offer their gifts, to be an integral part of that tribe, and they're valued for that, for who they are. I mean, if you asked a traditional Native American person who they were, they would answer, I am, you could say, because my Native American name speaks with one heart. It was Tenyo. I would say, I am speaks with one heart. But I wouldn't say that. I would say first, I'm one of the people, or my people call me speaks with one heart. Because my relationship is through the group. It's not as an isolated individual. You know, and that's the difference, because in a tribal culture, we are not separate. We don't come from separation. And I remember Bart one day, he shared this with me, and he said, he called it the unnaming. He said, when you're born and you come into this world, you're connected to everything. You're totally connected to everything, and it's a process of discovering at that point what you're becoming, and what you're becoming is less than everything. So you're becoming, the naming process takes you from this to you're discovering, oh, I'm a boy, girl, oh, I'm Native American, I'm Presbyterian, you know, I'm Hispanic, you know, I'm any one of these things that takes us from this, and we begin to develop an identity around what it is that we're being, in a sense, things are taken away by the naming process. And we begin to discover that everything is named, and that's all done through the intellect. So I take this beautiful expansiveness that I came in with, all this openness, and I keep bringing it back, bringing it back, bringing it back, until finally, I've got this. And you know what? I'm going to hang on to that, you know, pretty hard, because if this is all I got, I don't want to lose it. So we come in with all this, and we end up with this. And our journey, and my journey through this book, and the classes I'm doing, are all about taking this and expanding it back out. Now, the difference is we come in all this innocence of a child. What we want to do is we want to come back to the innocence. We just want to carry it in an adult way. So, and that's a good question for a lot of people. Is it possible to walk in our innocence, but walk as an adult? And so that's the challenge in our culture, is because it can feel real fearful to walk with your heart open. So we engage in a process, and I call the group that I work with, I call the Primal Circle. Primal being original, right? Because isn't in a sense the tribe the original circle? We've all come from there, and we all sat in that circle. And who hasn't sat around a fire at night or even in the day and just felt this tremendous sense of connection with the people that sat there with you? It's inherent in the being. It's innate in the being. We're all connected anyway. It's just that we've forgotten. So what our journey is about is coming back from this to this. And what this is really a sharing of our gifts. It's really about sharing our gifts. It's about expressing our heart. And in our culture, we tend to be measured by productivity. What are you worth? It's what you have in the bank, it's your home, it's your car, it's the job you have. You know, whenever you meet people, typically people tend to, there's a hierarchical structure that goes on. So what do you do, John? And, you know, and then they're measuring. How do I relate to this person? Is he a doctor? Is he up here? Or is he just a regular Joe that, you know, does this or that, you know? So we tend to intellectualize that whole process. And we do that for, what do you think we do that for? It's self-protection, isn't it? You know, so the whole process is one of protecting self, but we're really protecting something that doesn't need to be protected. It's a false identity. And so what we're here to do is we're here to drop that identity, and I call it discovering our primal nature, which the Zen folks call it the primal source. It's basically the ground base of reality. That's where my teacher lived. That's what my teacher constantly showed us. This is where we need to live. This is where we're meant to dwell. And any one of us can be there at any time, but it's a practice of going back to it enough times that it becomes where we dwell.